5 p.m. kickoff on Prime Video. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Feeding Our Friends on the Outside will be hosting its 15th annual Feeding the Homeless event in Greater Los Angeles on Sunday, November 10th from noon until at 11129 South Central Avenue in Los Angeles. If you would like to donate or volunteer, please call 310-981-6377 or email them at feedingourfriends05@gmail.com. feedingourfriends05@gmail.com. It's the 15th anniversary of Feeding Our Friends on the Outside, Sunday, November 10th from noon until 11129 South Central Avenue in Los Angeles. For more information, call 310-981-6377. 310-981-6377. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Listen to the news, listen to the rhythm of the blues if you want to. Listen to me, you should listen in church. You should listen to the people at your hurt instead of listening to somebody telling you why. What is worth, yeah. If you're listening, y'all, or listen at all. If you're listening hard or listening soft, listen to God. Listen to God. Listen for God. Just wanna talk to you. Just wanna live through you. Just wanna love through you. That's all I wanna do.
KBLA Talk 1580. It's the perfect moment to vent, to share some information, to fellowship. 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. So much interesting conversation going on inside our chat room this morning on KBLA 1580. That's on YouTube, where we stream live all of this. And I think that it's worth reviewing a couple of things that Dr. Gerald Horne said and some things you've said in the chat, and also inviting you in at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Snack Panther says, talking about California and the way that many of our progressive initiatives went down in flames, I do think some of it is the terrible, unethical advertising. But Snack Panther says, we have those white liberals and their capitalistic tendencies. That's actually really interesting point, because I'm thinking about an article I saw in the LA Times a couple days ago about how Hollywood, not the actors, not the rank and file, the actors and writers and such, but the studio heads and producers feel that Drumpf is more pro-business and will be more likely to allow the big mergers that they want to do with the different studios, will be more likely to give them better deals somehow. We'll see if that turns out to be true, but I think that is an example of what you're talking about, Mr. Snack or Miss Snack. And some were taking issue with the fact that I said I feel like we're still fighting the Civil War, saying that was a provocative and untrue statement. But okay, H. Dorvillis said, Dominique, you feel we're still fighting the Civil War? Really? How so? I can't imagine you can say this and no one latches on to such a powerful, if not loaded, declaration. Well, for one thing, we're still struggling to get rid of Confederate flags. After the Nazis lost the war, all of that was banned and is still banned in their country. We're still fighting over whether Robert E. Lee should have schools named after him and whether those statues should be there. The attitudes of the Civil War, the attitudes that we are not due reparation. We never got our reparations. We never finished the Reconstruction. The Reconstruction in this country was shut down. Lincoln was murdered. We assassinated. We have unfinished business. We did Truth and Reconciliation. Look, some people said we should have lined those folks up and shot them. But we never did that. We never even really purged them from government. policing. Look at the reparations task force for Los Angeles. Look at that report that they generated over the summer. It was a preliminary report, and it outlays how many KKK chapters and white supremacist chapters are right in Southern California, which we think of as so-called liberal, right? And how there is a correlation between the KKK membership and the staffing of our police departments. What is the Proud Boys? What is the new Confederate neo-fascist so-called alt-right? If it isn't the leftovers of the Civil War, this idea that they're still trying to take back their country. For who? For what? Let's go to Amin calling us from LA. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, good morning. Let me pull over so I won't crash.
Good for you. Be safe. I love that so much for you. Amin called 800-920-1580, and I invite you to do the same.
Yes, ma'am. Dominique, I know you know what the Federal Reserve is, right?
Of course.
Of course you do.
You don't. You really don't think I'm an idiot, do you?
No, not at all.
Just checking. But yeah.
Let me ask you this, though.
Well, does anybody really know what the Federal Reserve is, though? Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't know that that's our central banking system here in the United States and in the Western world. But let me ask you this, Dominique: do you know what fractional reserve banking is?
Am I taking a quiz right now? I ask the questions. Just make your point, please. Amin, where'd you go? Did we lose Amin, Miles?
Okay.
Amin, are you still there?
No.
Okay, what's your point? Take me where you're going. Don't give me a quiz. I'm not in the mood.
No, okay, all right, okay. Fractional. A lot of people may not know, but fractional reserve banking is where that Federal Reserve.
They take your money.
Have $1. They could have $1 in the bank,
right?
But create $10 and loan out $10. So if it has $1 million in the bank, it can loan out $10 million.
Because
now,
supposedly they're keeping your money in reserve, so your money is guaranteeing it, if I'm not mistaken. And that's not just the Federal Reserve; it's all banks. I mean, but where are you going with this? Take us where you're going instead of taking us step by step, brick by brick through your landscape of your mind.
Yeah, well, a lot of people just don't understand.
Okay, but what are you saying? What's your point is what I'm asking.
Yes, how unfair that is when people could create money out of thin air. And I saw a documentary, and it came, the guy, African Americans lost more money during the 2007-2010 recession.
The Bush crash of 2008, as I call it. The George Bush crash of 2008. Yeah.
Than anybody in the history of the United States. African Americans lost more wealth.
Yep.
So we have to understand the Federal Reserve, and we have to understand fractional reserve banking to understand what happened to that wealth. We lost more wealth.
I mean, do we have to understand it? What we know is that we were put into predatory, unsustainable loans, and then our houses were snatched from us. And most of us build our wealth through our homes. It's the easiest and fastest way to build wealth. Whether you know fractional reserve banking or not, the fact of the matter is we got railroaded into predatory loans. Even black people with the same credit score as white people got worse loans. And so what does that mean? When building our wealth, we're going to have to be really intentional and super careful not to let that happen again. And it's another argument, honestly, for reparations.
Okay. Well, okay, and then we got to understand now. We have to understand why the richest man on the planet today is trying to abolish the Federal Reserve. The same organization that put us in those subprime loans and led us to lose more wealth, that at in the history of the United States that the richest man, Elon Musk, is trying to abolish it with Mike Lee. Mike Lee, the senator of
Well,
Utah.
but what Trump has said about that is he wants direct control over it.
Yeah, because Jerome Powell say if Trump asked me to resign, I'm not going to do it.
Right, which is
In other words,
pretty
more
intense.
powerful.
Right, he's going to
Yeah.
stare him down, and we'll see how that goes.
Right. That's the Federal Reserve. So our people have to understand the Federal Reserve, fractional reserve banking, and our existence.
Got it. Well, thank you, Amin, for that little journey into the Federal Reserve and through your mindscape. Yeah, okay. It's good if we understand that stuff. I think we need to figure out how to hold on to what we have and build generational wealth. And I do think, as Dr. Horn said, it's going to be a bumpy ride. He's already indicated that he's closing doors that were barely cracked open. Going to Shayon from Long Beach. Hi, Shayon.
Hi. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. All things considered. How are you?
Well, I'm doing well. Just a quick piggyback. Donald John Trump, or Drumpf, he can go over there and play with the Federal Reserve, but it's a few presidents that's taking a long dirt nap behind fooling with the Federal Reserve. So let him go ahead.
So in your view, the Federal Reserve is more powerful than the office of the presidency.
All they got to do is go back to people like Lincoln. I think it was Jackson, them that opposed central banking. So you had quite a few presidents in the 1800s that was against central banking because of that reason, how they set up and steal the wealth of the citizens.
Yeah, I was not aware of.
Yeah.
And because, I mean, basically what they're doing is they're taking your money and putting it on reserve to guarantee the money they're printing or something.
Well, what it also had to do is that gold was the standard, right? So you would be
right. That I know.
You was able to take the gold, right, and get a receipt for it.
Right.
But what they did I think it was 1933, where they took us off the gold standard.
Right.
So they took all of our gold and gave us the paper. But if you read in the United States Constitution, the Constitution clearly says only gold and silver is lawful money, legal money.
1933. Yeah, the gold standard ends in 1933. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Under
basically what
FDR.
I'm saying is, yeah, so they violate the Constitution with that, because the Constitution, like I said, only gold and silver in the Constitution. The Constitution is the law, not these other people, unless amended by Congress, and it takes 2/3 of all state legislatures to get an amendment to the Constitution. So
so apparently the gold standard has been ending in stages, and the last stage was 1971 when President Nixon ended the convertibility of the dollar to gold. In making the dollar a free floating currency. So that means that but that's not just in the United States. Apparently the gold standard is pretty much globally not in effect.
You know how far the gold standard go back, Dominique? The gold standard goes back to Kemet, back to ancient Egypt. When the Romans was in world power, gold and silver was the trading standard. You know, but the way that they steal the wealth from the citizens is by giving you paper currency that they can inflate.
Well,
at any time.
I mean, and here's the thing. I mean, it's really like, at a certain point, it's like religion. It has money because it has value because we believe it has value.
Well, the thing about it is, it's tangible. It's something that money is has currency, right? Because it's metal, right? and that's what currency is. It's long and convoluted. I don't want to get stuck on it. I just wanted to share.
Yeah,
that really quick,
and I'm not really sure what it has to do
Yeah.
with what it has to do with the moment we're in. I've been getting a lot of this kind of conversation in DMs and other threads on X, and because I think when we get into these kind of game-changing crossroads that we're at with this country right now, in the world really, because it's not just the U.S. that has moved towards authoritarianism. I mean, it's taking hold throughout Europe, right, and in spots in Latin America. That people start going down rabbit holes, and I'm not quite sure how that helps us.
Well, that's just one. That's just understanding one aspect of how they steal the wealth. They took the gold and gave us the fractional currency. And if you read right on the money, right on the dollar, it tells you this is a debt note. So they tell you right up front. That's why it's important to have gold and silver, tangible gold and silver that you take possession of in your possession. Gold is trading a little over $2,000 for a troy ounce, and I believe silver is just about probably $24, $26.
Okay, we're still going down the rabbit hole, but I mean I understand conceptually what you're talking about, but right now I feel like you've got people burning. We've got people burning a cross on our lawn, and we're talking about fiat money and monetary concepts.
Talk about people burning the cross on the lawn, right? Okay, what's the history? See, all of that stuff has a history, and what we as so-called black people fail to do, we fail to do the hard gumshoe work of the history, and Europeans don't, and that's why they succeed at what they do, and we standing there always looking around like we don't ate a box of powdered donuts right around the mouth going, well, what just happened? Right?
Yeah, but why is that? Why is that? We're the only people in the world for whom it's been illegal to go to school or read. We've had our history stolen and suppressed and taken from us. It's not that we're cursed or slow or stupid. I mean, they're doing it again right now as we speak, right? I mean, they're doing it again. They're Trump literally threatened schools that have DEI programs. They're, threatening schools. He's threatening to defund public schools that teach black history. It's not that we are stupid, right?
Well, let me say this, right? I literally have a whole library with 200 books. We're supposed to have libraries in our own homes, and we are neglectful, we're prideful, and we don't want to do that because we want the public education to do it. Some of that stuff we responsible for.
All right, Jayon, hold that thought. Yeah, but why? Again, that goes back to history. I think about post-traumatic slave syndrome by Dr. Joy DeGruy. Why are we that way? We can keep this convo going. That's what we're here for. 800-920-1580. We are KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. Are you an entrepreneur looking to take your business to new heights? KBLA Talk 1580 is your partner in success. Every day, we celebrate and elevate black-owned businesses across our community. Our KBLA SMB Marketplace currently features The Cookie Dip, Bad Ash Bakes, Hair Concoction, Higher Education Accreditation Consulting, LACC Radiology Technology Department, and Malik Books. Your business deserves to be heard. Let KBLA Talk 1580 amplify your voice and connect you with our powerful community of listeners. Email smb@kbla1580.com today. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin ultra strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Okay. Charmin flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl. Yeah, it's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a black and brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
One thing about a black man that reads is a beautiful conversation, always, Shayon. You can never have too many books. It's even better when we read them. I understand that, but I do think there's an element of conditioning. And I'm not saying we don't have responsibility for making ourselves smarter, but I also think when you point out history, there's historical reasons why we are that way.
Hello?
Yeah. Queuing that up for you. Queuing that up for you to respond to, Shayon.
Well, what I'm saying is that.
I mean, it sounds like you're saying get off your butt and read. That's what it sounds like you're saying.
Yeah, because we always through ancient times, you was required to have libraries in your home. In the civilization of Timbuktu, it was mandatory that you had libraries in your home, and it makes sense because we are the first people to write books. So it only makes sense that you should have a library. We've gotten away from that, and we expect those who oppressed us to give us the right information about us and our ancestors. Well, that's pie in the sky. Yeah. And let me give you an example, right? A lot of our scholars, right, they've written, let's take a few, George G.M. James, J.A. Rogers, Sheikh Adi Diop, Dr. Jacob Carruthers, who I was just looking at his book just now, Intellectual Warfare, Dr. Amos Wilson. I mean, I can go on, Dr. Chancellor Williams.
I mean, you should see my father's house, may he rest in peace. Wall-to-wall books. There are books everywhere. There are books coming out of every corner, crevice, drawer, and table. And that black man read all those books. So you don't have to convince me.
No, but see, you helping me make my point with the example of your father. We have gotten away from that. We need to go back to that. That's all I'm saying.
No, I got you. Well, I appreciate the conversation and always your insights on history and everything else. Shayon, let's go to Anthony calling us from Carolina. North or south, Anthony?
Hey, good morning, Dominique. Yesterday, I didn't hang up on you. I just thought that you were going to the top of the hour and you were going to cut me off and go to the next caller.
All right. Let's not waste our precious airtime going over that. What did you call to say?
I called to say I enjoy your last few callers because knowledge is power, and what they've been saying is, you know what I'm saying, is good for the mind. But I get kind of feeling that you want him to change the subject. So
no, it's not change the subject. I just don't want to go, way down a rabbit hole. I think the point is taken, and this, I'm glad you said that, Anthony, because, and you said something similar yesterday. On this show, I invite everybody, people that agree, disagree, it's all good. You say something once, it's good. You say it twice, that's okay. I don't want to hear it 3 times. 3 times we either got it or we don't got it. You feel me?
Okay, and let me say this as a listener, because maybe you haven't never been a caller to a show like we have and listening to your show.
Mm-hmm.
But those saying about how you can tell a good friend not about whenever they're there in the good times, but the bad times. Same thing about a host. You can tell a host about how she treat her callers, whether they agree with her or whether they don't agree with her. Whenever somebody agree with you about Harris and all of that, you give them the most free time. You don't interrupt.
Actually, that's not true. I may interrupt.
Ooh.
Whoa, hold on. I interrupt people when it's conversation, so I may interject. I interrupt when people tell untruths. But I actually tend to give people that disagree with me more time. I've had a lot of complaints about that. And I would love to see you disagree with any right-wing talk radio host and for them to give you any time at all, because it won't happen.
Trust me, I called one in Florence, South Carolina in the morning. I'm a truck driver, and they know me as Anthony, the brother from North Carolina. And there's a redneck station, and I give them the business. But one thing I noticed that it's a lot of similarity between that Republican station and your station. Whenever you on his station, if I even mention Obama or Harris or anything Democratic, he go into his little entourage. He cut me off, and he go blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
Well, wait here.
Well, actually, that's not
You
true.
mentioned-
Sorry, Anthony, that's
Okay.
not true. You don't get to say lies. I will correct. I will real-time correct. But I'm not here to defend what we do. We are unapologetically progressive. Can you read the sign? Unapologetically. So if you don't like it, sorry. But it is what it is. And you know what? I am not at all like those folks because I'm fact-based. And I do allow all comers. I'm glad they let Anthony, the truck driver, on their little redneck station. I bet you ain't getting on no national stations. And if you do, like you said, you'll be censored before you even get to say it. I will disagree with you, but I won't censor you. We've got just about 30 seconds here before news, traffic, and sports. Anthony, go ahead and use it.
Okay. I don't like to call the main big station because it's already distorted. You know, so they have their calls already screened and everything.
Yeah.
The thing about the media is so important. The media, and well, put it this way, in America, we do not control our media, our banks, or our money. We should print our own money. We should control our own free media. We have no free media in America. We keep talking about the white supremacy. They work for you know who.
Okay, hold that
people who own
thought.
it.
Hold that thought. Print our own money. How's that going to work? Maybe you can explain it. But we got news, traffic, and sports right here. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Rick Slayman, the first recipient of a genetically engineered pig kidney, died from an unexpected cardiac event, not the transplant. Doctors found no signs of kidney rejection. With a dozen people dying daily in the U.S. while waiting for a kidney, pig-to-human transplants could be a potential solution. President-elect Donald Trump nominated Matt Gaetz for U.S. Attorney General. Gaetz resigned from Congress, ending the House Ethics Committee's investigation into allegations of sexual misconduct and illicit drug use against him. Gaetz expressed his honor to serve. Palm Springs, California is set to approve a $27 million reparations deal for Black and Latino families displaced in the 1960s. The City Council will vote on it today. And password manager NordPass is out with its annual list of the world's most popular passwords. And for the second year in a row, 123456 is on top. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Topping off a dessert or swirling it onto hot cocoa, Reddi-wip is here to whip up some holiday cheer. Reddi-wip is made with real cream, so pick up a can or two. Reddi-wip.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
LeBron James continues to be one of the most amazing athletes in the history of sports. At age 39, LeBron became the oldest NBA player to have a triple-double in 3 straight games. LeBron had 35 points, 14 assists, and 12 rebounds last night in the Lakers' 128-123 win over Memphis. In the fourth quarter alone, LeBron sparked the Lakers' comeback with 9 points, 5 assists, and 7 rebounds. The The Lakers are 6-0 at home for the first time since 2010. The Clippers lost in Houston last night, 111-103. James Harden was the Clippers' only bright spot with 19 points and 7 assists. Magic Johnson's Washington Commanders are on national TV tonight. The Commanders are at Philadelphia in the NFL's Thursday night matchup, 5 p.m. kickoff on Prime Video. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Add confidence to every holiday adventure and get it done with a rugged and capable Chevy truck or SUV. Find your red tag. Get 0% APR financing for 36 months on select popular Chevy models when you finance with GM Financial. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Offer available on all 2025 Equinox and 2024 Silverado, Equinox EV, Blazer EV, and Silverado EV models. Monthly payment is $2,860 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 22.2%. Must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 12/2/24.
With reported hate crimes rising in recent years, California has responded through outreach efforts across state government and in collaboration with community-based organizations for the launch of CA versus Hate. This non-emergency, multilingual hate crime and incident reporting hotline provides an anonymous reporting option for victims and witnesses of hate acts reported in 15 different languages through the online portal and in over 200 languages when calling the hotline. Report anonymously by calling 833-866-4283 Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. or online at any time at cavshate.org.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do...
Let's play something, Grandma.
...became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do...
Let's play something, Grandma.
...became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? We didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive, KBLA Talk 1580.
All right. Anthony from Carolina. I know you didn't just call here to give me a whole long critique of my station and my hosting skills, which are not really up for debate. You either like it or you don't. But I think you might have had a political point to make. So why don't you do that?
Yeah, no, I like your show, and I respect that you go back to the motherland, and that caught my attention probably about 6-7 months ago when I started hearing your show. Because most people that I listen to, they don't go back to the motherland. I have something far as reparation, and I wanted to go by and run it by you because you deep into it. Why can't we, as black people, and there are countries in Africa that know our struggles here in America and what happened, and probably play some kind of role in the slavery thing. Okay, how come they can't, being that they have gold and all the riches over there, have a bank that's backed by gold, and they give us, how can I say this? They give us reparations from their bank to America, same way they have offshore accounts in other banks, whatever, to black Americans. We use that money in a stabilized bank here in America. We use that money to start businesses. The business that we start, we get our natural resources to do those business. I don't care if it's making tires. Tires is a necessity. All of them need tires. If we get our resources from Africa, we doing trade with them, making their lives better, and we can get cheaper product. And one thing about America, they don't care who's selling it. If it's a good product and it's cheaper, they're going to buy it. And that way we can start our own nation within a nation because, to me, America is not going to give us reparations because they know that what we can do with it. They know what, if we start recycling our money, there's no more white supremacy. So why can't we just get African banks, started up, Africa, have a bank, give us reparations. We use that to start businesses in the natural resource. Really, America should be a melting pot where every nationality use their own country to trade with back and forth and get natural resources with. That's
what you're saying is based on, kind of a vision, your vision of how it should be, because when you look at the 54 countries that make up the continent of Africa, many of them are in situations where they're either controlled, being meddled by, indirectly controlled, or drained of their resources by Western powers. Western powers being France, England, the United States, for the most part. The Dutch and the Portuguese to some extent, but mostly it's France, the UK, and the US. So it's not that simple, because even though there's all this wealth in Africa, most of it is not controlled by Africans. And then, on top of that, you have neo-colonial corruption. So many of these African nations, the Congo is a perfect example, they have all of these natural resources and wealth, but they are not in control of it. Right? So how are they going to pay you when it's busy being plundered by China, France, the U.S., and the U.K., who are puppeteering some of their governments, and others who are trying to fight them off? Either way, either you're being controlled by Western powers or you're trying to survive and fight off Western powers. And so it's just, sadly, not that simple.
Yes, but isn't most of those countries that have contracts with those European countries, I don't want to call them fake or false or rigged contracts, but they're not contracts that profit both sides.
Right, and a lot of them aren't even contracts. A lot of them are just, kind of old-fashioned stick 'em up. Give me your stuff.
Yeah.
Some of them are contracts. I mean, I guess you talk about Shell Oil in Nigeria, et cetera, et cetera. But some of them are just, we're coming in here and taking your stuff. Look at Congo, where there's proxy wars going on with different people, greedy other outside nations that want resources, helping to control the so-called internal civil wars that are making life for the people there a hell, and these massive civilian deaths, similar to what we see in Gaza, with less international attention on it. I think there could be, I'm not saying that your idea is completely wrong. I just think, given the geopolitical circumstances and challenges facing most of our African nations right now, it's going to be a hard road to plow. The other thing is, yes, I think we could make the case that there are reparations owed to a degree from certain African nations based on their complicity in the slave trade, but the lion's share of the responsibility, financial responsibility, is on Western nations, the United States, Europe, who plundered, Portugal, who plundered Africa for us, those human resources, and then sold us, who profited from 12 generations of our free labor to build them up into a superpower. If you're talking about who owes the debt, most of that debt is owed by Western powers. And I think you're right. The U.S. will continue to resist reparation. But look, Evanston's already paid some. The Bruce family already got their plot back. Doesn't mean it will be easy, that it'll be widespread. Maybe it'll never happen, but I believe we will get reparations, and it's only a matter of us never giving up. I remember conversations when, and this is not to say this is on the level of reparation, but it's on the level of mindset. Because I remember when Obama first jumped in the race, and I had black people calling me all day long saying he shouldn't run. It's not his turn. It's Hillary's turn. He can't win. We'll never have a black president. Never, never, never. And my position was like, we have to, we can't just say never, never, never. We have to fight for it. We have to fight for it.
Exactly, Dominique.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Dominique, see, we in America, blacks in America, we have the brain and the knowledge of history of what happened. In Africa, they don't have that knowledge. They have the power. They have the people. That's why that's why it's always important to keep us separated from the Africans. They just think that they hate us, we don't like them. It's so far away from around the country or whatever, so we won't go back and connect.
You'd be amazed how much they don't hate us. You go to Africa,
Exactly.
people be getting married and doing way too much. I'm not saying go do all that, but I'm not advocating for passport bros and sisters, but whatever, we love who we love. But I'm just saying the hate is mostly manufactured. I know there's competition and there is some prejudice and hate from us toward them and them toward us in pockets, but overall, no. That's just, I've been to the motherland 6 times, about to go on the 7th trip this summer.
Exactly.
And 9 nations, and I haven't run into any hate at all. Not one bit.
They control the media, Dominique. Do you know that 3 days before the election, I listened to your show for probably about 6 months, but on the same app that I listened to for 6 months, 3 days before the election, this channel is no longer available. And still, on the same app, radio.net is no longer available. Hold on, 3 days before.
Wow,
it's
that's
all about
interesting.
knowledge. And your guy before, he had a good point about the books and everybody to read books. I have a podcast. I understand our people not going to read books. Our people not going to listen to certain people's scriptures. But on my podcast, I use information that I got off this show and other shows. As long as it reaches them, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Everybody ain't got to read. Everybody ain't got to be knowledgeable. Michael Mays got on a soapbox so people can hear because he can relate to them. Some people don't relate to.
Well, yeah. You sound like, and I thank you for your call, Anthony. I'm glad you listen, and I'm glad that we can agree to disagree or whatever it is. But man, it scrolled up again. Somebody was talking about how we can learn not just from reading, but also from each other, and I guess that's part of the concept of talk radio. It's part of our tradition as people, melanated people, right? Our oral tradition. Our tradition of knowledge and teaching history, however we teach it, and learning however we learn it. And as Ben Frank says, each one teach one, each one reach one. Absolutely. Meanwhile, that's going to be more important than ever. So if you're like Shayon and you have a house with, thousands of books, then perhaps you are going to have to get on radio shows and in barbershops and in parks and do some teaching, because it looks like they're finna push us back underground. The Underground Railroad for books and ideas is about to be real. Just like somebody said, and I think I do have that in the chat, talking about, when I say that I feel like we're still fighting the Civil War. It's Starving Myself to Life says, I think it's hard to dispute that this country hasn't been fighting a cold civil war for the past 40 years. And that's well said, because that's pretty much what I was trying to convey. It may not be with bayonets and rifles, but it's the Civil War, the Civil Cold War continues. Not too late to call me, 800-920-1580. In fact, it's not even close to too late. I'd love to hear from you. This is a place where we're amplifying black and progressive voices around the clock. We are KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Join the Black Hollywood Education and Resource Center for a great day in Black Hollywood. Friday, November 15th, 7 p.m. at the Regal LA Live Theaters, downtown Los Angeles. This is the opening night celebration of the 30th annual S.E. Manley African American Short Film Showcase, honoring Deborah Pratt, Lyndon Barrios, Janine Sherman Barrios, Art Sims, Dee Stevens, Gina Lemieux Davis, and Dr. Gloria Zervine. The weekend continues on Saturday, November 16th and November 17th with over 60 short films and industry panels on careers in Hollywood and directors on directing. Get your tickets today at bherc.org or call 323-957-4656. Again, 323-957-4656. See you there. That's bherc.org. Tips to help improve basic steps for building a budget in 2024. Building a budget can help you achieve and reach your financial goals. With a budget, you can keep track of your spending, avoid and get out of debt, limit overspending, pay bills on time, and build solid savings habits. What's the best way to get started? Figure out how much to set aside for expenses, like rent, mortgage, bills, groceries, and entertainment. Understanding your past financial habits can help you make the proper adjustments for your budget. Adjusting to a budget can take time as you work to find the right balance, but keep working on it. For more financial health tips, visit chase.com or stop by a local branch. This segment is sponsored by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Are you interested in catching up on all the latest entertainment news, trending topics, and exciting interviews? I got you. Tune in to The Raw Report with Robin Ayers, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. I'm your host, Robin Ayers. Join me every weekday with some of the best entertainment contributors in the business as we break down what's going on, who's got next, and what not to miss. Only on The Raw Report with Robin Ayers.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Febreze. So my home is also my office, and before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up and spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
I mean, the amount of stuff we have to talk about right now, it's almost paralyzing. It's like, where do we even start? thinking about the Doge department, named after Elon Musk's favorite Dogecoin, Department of Government Excess or something like that, where he says he's going to cut trillions. And, there's so much wrong with that. First of all, he has 3 companies, Neuralink, SpaceX, Tesla. All of them have government contracts. So how are you in charge of cutting government waste when you are a government contractor? And he's not planning to step down as leader of any of those while he leads Doge department. Not only that, apparently Dogecoin made a big jump in value after a government department was named after it. Lawrence O'Donnell says that Drumpf is humiliating Musk by not giving him a real department because the Doge department will expire after, according to its paperwork, no less than 18 months. Once in a year and a half, Elon Musk figures out where to cut out all the government waste. I'm laughing because it's just, okay, pedophile over Department of Justice. In what other country could Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, former best friend, who is himself an adjudicated rapist, appoint an alleged pedophile to run the Department of Justice? Now we're beyond, nothing matters. DJT was absolutely correct when he said he could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and kill somebody. And don't be surprised if he does now because he has immunity. But I'm just thinking, in the old days, it seems that politicians, no matter how much of liars they were or cheaters they were, think Richard Nixon, they worried about appearances. But he's not worried about appearances. He's wants Peter Hegseth, who is a Fox News host with no experience running any single thing, to run this giant military administrative behemoth. And the guy has already said that he doesn't want women in combat roles, even though women are already in combat roles. And he has already said we need to get rid of woke generals, as Dr. Gerald Horn pointed out. Yeah, he's a veteran. But, just because you are a veteran, and thank you for your service, Mr. Fox News Weekend anchor, it doesn't mean you know how to run this giant thing. So, everyone's saying it's loyalty over competence, and I get that, but I think it's more than that. I think it's also like a central casting thing. You're putting a guy over the Department of Justice who has called for the abolition of the FBI. It's more of like I'm the emperor and I can do anything I want to kind of thing. And I'm hopeful, again, because apparently Mike Johnson, who's the Speaker of the House and will remain the Speaker of the House for now, as the Republicans have secured the majority in the House. Looks like it could be a pretty slim majority. There are still some votes being counted in a couple of races. But because of our failures to organize effectively in California and Arizona, they have control of the House. But apparently Mike Johnson keeps telling Drumpf, don't get any more of your nominees from the House of Representatives because our margin is too slim. And I'm sure Drumpf says, yeah, and does it anyway because he really doesn't understand or doesn't care. Probably the latter. The former, I'm thinking he probably doesn't even get it. And so the more people, Matt Gaetz abruptly resigning after being chosen as Attorney General, when a report critical of him was meant to come out this week by the House Ethics Committee. Now he will avoid that. But also, it slims their majority. Can Dems try to pass some things real quick if enough of these, if enough of these Republicans, drop out? Unfortunately, most of them are probably not dumb enough or pressed enough, like Matt Gaetz, to hurry up and resign. Because once he resigned, and that was yesterday, okay, I'm out of here. I got another job. Which is not how it's done, by the way. You stay in Congress until you're confirmed to your new position. But then, this way, he avoids scrutiny in the House, which I think he believes would help him get confirmed by the Senate. That's also pretty dumb, because that investigation may be over, but the report that was meant to come out today or tomorrow still exists, and senators can read it and they can question you. And now it seems they're indicating, the administration is indicating that they'll at least try to pass their nominations through the regular Senate before they sneak around and try to do recess appointments. Anyway, this fool stepped down. He has been yelling and acting up with the House Ethics Committee, so that probably was going to be pretty spectacularly ugly. But since he resigned, it automatically ends that ethics investigation because he's no longer a member of the House of Representatives. And so that committee no longer has the authority to investigate him. Doesn't mean they can't release their findings, though. And they're not speaking on that. And even if they don't release them, there's a possibility that members of the U.S. Senate could access that information and bring it up in his confirmation hearings. Even Republicans are going, wait, what? Matt Gaetz for Attorney General? We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I've talked about infighting, corruption, and incompetence being part of what gives me hope that this administration will not be able to implement all of the terrible things they plan to do. But we're starting to see a tiny, tiny whisper of pushback. So maybe some of these Republicans, 1 or 2 or 5, we really only need, I guess right now it's looking like we would only need 3 to tank a nomination. That they may resist some of the more outrageous picks like Matt Gaetz and Tulsi Gabbard, who has 0 experience. News, traffic, and sports, and we're keeping it going. We're taking your phone calls. We're unpacking this election. We're doing that until the bottom of the hour on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Rick Slayman, the first recipient of a genetically engineered pig kidney, died from an unexpected cardiac event, not the transplant. Doctors found no signs of kidney rejection. With a dozen people dying daily in the U.S. while waiting for a kidney, pig-to-human transplants could be a potential solution. President-elect Donald Trump nominated Matt Gaetz for U.S. Attorney General. Gaetz resigned from Congress, ending the House Ethics Committee's investigation into allegations of sexual misconduct and illicit drug use against him. Gaetz expressed his honor to serve. Palm Springs, California is set to approve a $27 million reparations deal for Black and Latino families displaced in the 1960s. The city council will vote on it today. And password manager NordPass is out with its annual list of the world's most popular passwords. And for the second year in a row, 123456 is on top. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.